If your brand has been tarnished online, this video is for you. We're going to review everything to do with online reputation management, including how something goes bad and smears your reputation online, including bad reviews, and how to actually go about fixing it. There's two main ways we're going to talk about both of them, including some insider hacks that you probably haven't heard of before. So I'm Jay Feldman. I'm one of the co-founders of Otter PR, or one of the fastest growing digital PR agencies in the United States with over 30 employees and 2 offices. And we focus on crisis and online reputation management as a part of our service. We execute this for clients ranging from old CEOs who have been indicted in charges to companies who have had a misstep and got smeared in the news. Now, online reputation management is tricky because we don't have direct control over what people see or what publications post or what can get taken down. What we can do is try and manipulate those results. And there's a few different ways that we can do that. The first thing you should know is that you're not alone. You're not the first person who's gone through this. You're not the first name or brand that's been smeared online. And unfortunately, due to the human nature, when we search for something online and you have 5 good results and 1 bad, people are going to click on the bad. They are more intrigued by the negative headline, so they're going to continue to click on that negative, perpetuate it higher in the Google rankings, and it's going to make the system even worse. So here's how to actually counteract it. There's 2 main ways you can go about handling a negative online presence, and there's a couple of different factors involved in getting that done. So the first is going to be removal. The best and most permanent solution to your negative online press is removal. It means getting the journalist, the publication, the reviewer, or whoever originally posted that negative thing online, even a Reddit conversation or a Facebook comment. Sometimes those links can make their way up too. The fastest way to get rid of it is to have them delete it. Now, there's a couple different ways to approach that situation. You could take the humanitarian approach. Listen, this is really affecting my life. My relationships, my business, my finances are affected by your link, and it would really mean a lot to me and my family if you could take that down. If they're a good person, which chances are if they're posting negative things, they're not, it could work. It's worth a shot. It's a great way to start. Some other things that you might be able to try are threatening legal action. There's companies such as Guaranteed Removals that will actually get a lawyer involved and say, this is defamation, this is why it's not true, this is affecting this person's mental health, and this post that you made could be a danger to their health. There's also the monetary incentive. You can offer them money to remove that link. A lot of companies actually practice a sketchy business where they will take your mugshot that's publicly posted online as soon as it goes live, and they'll store it and keep it posted on their website. So even after that mugshot goes down, it's still there, and they make you pay for them to remove it, and then if you pay to remove it, it might pop up on another site. So be very careful with this technique. For a person-to-person, it generally works. For companies and websites, such as the mugshot removals, be wary. It might pop up somewhere else, and they might ask you to pay again. So that's removals. The bigger and more authoritative the press publication is that posted that negative article, the harder it's going to be to get removed. For example, New York Times practices very stringent journalistic rules. They're very hesitant to remove any content that they post because everything is heavily researched, and they're one of the strongest, most trusted publications. If they were just tearing things down because of a threat or a bribe, they would not be the New York Times. So I will say this with a grain of salt. If it's a journalist writing for a real news publication, removal's probably not going to work. Doesn't mean it's not worth a shot. And my suggestion is use guaranteed removals. You only have to pay if it's actually removed. I don't get any incentive for promoting them. And if they're unable to get it removed, you don't pay, but they really do exhaust all the resources. They use the legal, they use the monetary, and they know what they're doing. Okay, that doesn't work. We're going to go to this second option, which is going to be the go-to option and most effective for most people. It's the one that my agency actually practices. And this is going to be the one that is going to be go-to if removal fails, and even if you're working on removal, you should be doing this at the same time. And that is called suppression. That's where you're creating positive links with high domain authority that we're actually going to outrank the negative links on Google. In order to do that is a very complicated process that involves a lot of factors. But once you get that negative link down to the second page, the traffic is going to plummet. Hardly anyone makes it to the second page. And just due to that fact, once the traffic starts to plummet, it's going to move farther and farther down. Once it gets to the third page, it's pretty much gone forever because almost no one makes it to that third page. So, the factors involved in suppression are time. The older a piece of news or a review is, the less significant it is, the less Google will promote it. 2 is place. If something negative happened in Pakistan and now you live in America and people are searching for you in America, that news article from Pakistan is probably not going to show up. So moving could potentially help your situation. And then there's domain authority and traffic. The strength of that publication is going to matter a lot for where it lands in Google. And then traffic. When people search for your name, are they clicking on that negative article and reading it? Or are they not clicking on that negative article and read it? And we can manipulate a lot of these different factors in order to suppress your negative article from the top to the bottom. So, how do you actually go about suppressing? There's a few steps that we take in order to suppress negative articles. The first is utilizing all of the social media platforms, SEO optimized, with high traffic and linking to each other. I'm talking about Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Those 5, if set up correctly, will rank on your first page every time. And those are what people are going to click on. They're going to be able to link to each other. And if you have a negative link eventually and you're active on the social media platforms, it will get pushed down to at least the end of that first page. Now, after we've utilized all the social media platforms, there's a lot of really strong free websites where you can essentially register, create an account, and that have really strong SEO. Talking about things like Crunchbase, like Medium. And I can include a list in the description for anyone who's interested in utilizing a lot of these free resources. But then the goal is to link them all together. You want everything linked to your social media, linked to your Crunchbase, linked to your Medium, so that they can gain link juice from each other. Google will know that they'll think that they're important, and they'll push them to the top. And voila, now you've pretty much got a clear first page. After some time, after driving some traffic, after adding some backlinks, which we'll talk about in the next video. The next thing you're going to want to do is focus on feature articles and strong publications. If, for example, CNN wrote an article about you, that was a negative article and it's ranking pretty high, and then the New York Times writes a positive article about you, that article is going to have a strong chance of ranking above that CNN article. The other thing we're going to need to focus on is backlinks. So Google ranks an article's importance by a couple of things. The domain authority of that website. New York Times, for example, very high domain authority. And then how many links from other websites are actually pointing to that piece. So if your negative article has, say, 100 links pointing to it, and your positive article has 1,000 links pointing to it, Google's going to think this is more important, let's push this above. And we use the same technique for the social media platforms and for other articles with your name in it. The other thing that's going to be very important is utilizing things like Wikipedia and Wikidia. These are essentially informational databases like Wikipedia everyone's familiar with. If you can't have a Wikipedia because they keep deleting it, you're not authoritative enough, Wikidia will do just fine. It ranks very, very well. And those get very high click volume, very high read-through rates. So utilize one of those, it'll also end up on the first page. Now there's a lot of press that will allow you to publish whatever you want, feature articles with your name. We'll continue to put these out. We'll continue to drive backlinks to them. And then there's also click services that you can use to manipulate Google traffic with real people. This will say that the negative links are not as important and the positive links are more important. Now, fair warning, especially with high authority publications like the New York Times, if they write something negative, it's going to be really hard to push that down to the bottom of page 3. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take this process, rinse and repeat, for sometimes up to 2 years. But sometimes if it's somebody's blog who's posting something negative or a Reddit thread, we could potentially fix your situation in only 2 or 3 months. So book a consultation with us. Let's see if we can help your situation. And if not, I'm happy to give you some free resources on the topic. Again, you're not alone. You're not the only person who's been through this. we're here for you, and I really want to help you fix your situation. So talk to us, book a call. If you found this helpful, please subscribe, please drop a like, and we'll see you in the next video.